She's a stalker.
1, 2, 3.
Right.
And now for something completely different.
Couldn't be that she finds me interesting, attractive. It has to be that she's interesting.
What I do is I look a woman up and down and I say,
I'm coming to join you, bitch.
Oh, is that too far?
Oh, you want to get into things?
Well, I mean...
No. Let's get into things. Let's get real. Everybody, Bojack wants to get real. Cancel the bubble round, because we're getting real.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of No Time to Binge, a show where we literally do nothing but lie to each other and see if we can make somebody snort wine out of their nose. Yes, B, I am talking at you. Okay, so for those who don't know,
get down.
yeah, no, keep it up. That's the game now. The game is see who can make you snarf red wine on the
It's gonna
wine.
be
All
Dylan.
over my
Hold on, I need to go get my alcohol. I'll be back in a second.
Oh, geez. Okay, cool. For those who don't know, this show, No Time to Binge, A, award-winning, B, hilarious, C, which is also 3 if you're using your alphabet fingers. It is a show where we just watch the first episode of something and then the very last episode of something and really just make up a whole bunch of shit in the middle and see if we should make time to binge some shows. Last episode, we talked about one of our favorites, JoJo, season 3, beautiful show. And we're sick of doing fun shows, so we gave Michael the opportunity to pick a show, and he chose House.
It was
MD.
it was a better choice than Hemlock Grove.
Disagree.
I honestly, I'm gonna disagree also, because this is just a show about like white privilege and how somebody needs to find more pills. Dude, this guy just needs to get wrecked. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Whereas Hemlock Grove, that's about some stuff. That's some serious issues and shit. But before we get going, obviously I got my bestest of friends here with me. Nurse B, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you? How's your pain scale on a scale of 1 to 10?
It's a 5 and rising. Because I know Michael's gonna piss me off soon. Speaking of which, Condo Michael, how are you, sir?
Good. And can I just tell you a quick story that somebody told me? Our theme song is also used in an advertisement that somebody saw while they were trying to watch pornographic materials. It's used for a commercial for a pill that gives you more semen.
Ooh,
More semen?
Yeah, because that's what you want. You
like
want
hiring people for a submarine.
Yeah, you want a whole boatload of semen, apparently.
You imagine getting done and be like, man, I wish there was more semen.
Doctor approved.
That was nice and all, but next time, Zach, bring more semen with you if that's okay.
But I was like, did my podcast player start our show? But
we get to
no,
sue somebody?
I mean, that person who told me about it said, was that my podcast player? No, it was the commercial for the semen medication.
You listen to porn podcasts?
No, I thought it was this podcast starting
On a porn channel?
Yeah, in the background. You know, haven't you ever like listened to podcasts while you're watching a YouTube video or pornography?
I don't think I listen to porn. I don't think I listen to porn strictly in audio form enough to know what commercials there are.
You should try it out.
Oh, okay. I mean, I guess honestly the sound is some of the best parts of it.
Yeah.
I'll try anything once.
Teardrops by Massive Attack. How are you, sir?
Piano riff. Snappy percussion. No, I'm doing fine. My pain is emotional.
Sometimes it's just hard to like you. Do you know that?
Oh, it's a defense mechanism. Nobody can get too close to this.
All right. So this week we're going to talk about House MD and see what kind of stupid lies we can make up about doctors. Beforehand, obviously, I always have something to just really annoy the shit out of you people. The game did not work out last week, so for that
I
viewer,
thought the game went great.
Yeah. For the viewers who took all the time and money and emails to make sure that their relationship could go wide, we didn't like your game, so I hope your relationship fails. Now we do have some more questions from our fans via Patreon and Twitter and some of the other stuff. Now, Let's see. We got some pretty pointed questions, if that's okay with you guys. Let's see. Teardrops from Massive Attack. I guess is that a song reference?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh God. I think I'm just gonna skip you. All right,
Zach is too busy watching Star Wars shit to know music. He doesn't know any music.
I guess he doesn't watch it
just
with
knows-
the captions on either, because it says, and the intro theme for House, it just says Teardrop by Massive
Teardrops by
Attack.
Massive Attack. I saw that too.
No, I did not get that. I'm too busy listening to people do porn while just watching House.
That's what
Okay,
I should have done. Damn it.
let's see. Michael Colby, Severus Vape has a question for you, and and Severus Vape would like to know what song describes your sex life. This was to Dylan originally, but I changed it because I hate
My
him to
answer's my name on the
I know, that's
screen
why-
right now.
That's why you didn't get it.
I think the Tom Jones song "Sex Bomb" would, because I bomb at it.
I thought that was a Scott Pilgrim song.
It's a
Sex Bomb?
Tom Jones song.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tom Jones. So your sex life can be summed up by a 1960s singer with a tight afro, right?
Yes,
I'm
yes,
into
and
that. That's
tighter pants, showing off his giant hog.
Tight tur pants. Okay, next question is gonna be for Nurse B. Destiny's grandchild would like to know, B, if you could pick one animated character that you have the largest crush on, who would it be? I think we all know the answer to this, though. But...
Wow.
Oh shit!
Oh, they have
Is she getting
they
a
have-
full size pillow?
they have an action figure.
Oh, nice.
I have the pillow too.
Okay, cool.
Oh boy!
Wow,
This thing right here.
what a steamy and possibly moist pillow that is. That is one steamy pillow.
I feel like I should show you my closet because it's all his merch. It's all his.
So for those who don't know, can you please just give us the name of that character, Nurse B?
His name is Bruno Bucciarati. He's from JoJo Part 5.
We're gonna get there in 2 more seasons, guys.
He's a
so
gay
just-
Italian gangster.
A gangster.
All right, let's see. Let's grab one here for Dylan. Let's see. Mario Fart would like to know, Dylan, if you were to do a striptease in front of a magic mirror that could change something about your appearance, what would you change? Wow, what a question.
Oh man.
It's got to be apparently it's got to be a striptease also.
I guess so. Second set of arms on a second set of shoulders.
2 shoulders, 2 sets of shoulders,
Yeah.
4 arms total.
Yeah.
So you want to be like a sexy Grievous.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was
Just
inspired
whip-
by your hunk tattoo.
he is a hunk. That's fair. All right, let's see. We have more questions for Condo here. Okay, Condo. Thought Patrol would like to know, if you could film a kissing scene with one actor, who would you pick?
Jason Momoa.
Ooh, from what
ready.
movie?
Yes.
All of them?
No, well, Aquaman specifically.
Okay, you like a wet Momoa.
The wetter the better, baby. I'm gonna start taking some. I'm gonna take some of that semen pills so that he gets even wetter than that.
Seriously, if he ain't covered, I'm not doing my
That's
job.
right. That is exactly right.
Let's see. Nurse B. I can see your pixels would like to know. Let's see. I gotta stop scrolling so much. Do you believe in Okay, I'm not even gonna ask that question. That's filthy. Come on, you guys got to send in some cleaner jokes. That's
No, I have to hear this one, even
I
if
have
he
to
doesn't.
too.
even
I
if
may
he
just
doesn't
not answer,
answer.
but I
Pose it
have to
pose
hear
it to the
it.
panel.
I don't want to be that vulgar just straight to B. Okay,
No,
but
do it.
This episode's already going to be age restricted. Like, let's be
this
real
one
here.
Yeah,
is
no.
This one's already in the gutter.
Okay, all
boy.
right.
I'm
So
an
for
absolute horrible pervert. There is nothing you can say to shock me.
all right, Thought Patrol. If you're
I'm wearing
if
a
you're
nurse uniform, for fuck's sake, that I
Yeah.
just happen to have hanging there. Do I
If you're
seem like
listening-
I'd be shocked?
if you're listening, Thought Patrol, I'm gonna let everyone answer this question. And the question is: do you believe that ghosts can cause nocturnal emissions?
Do I believe it or
Yeah.
do I know it?
Well, whether it's happened or not, do you believe it happened?
I suppose seeing is believing.
Yeah. Condo, ghosts, nocturnal emissions. You're like you're a professional at this.
I never thought about it, but now that I think about it, I hope that that's what causes nocturnal emissions. I hope some ghosts are jerking me off at night.
Just some friction ghosts, right?
Yes.
Just ghosts just rubbing
need a
over over sheets and under my
man.
morals, just trying to get it going. Dylan, what do you think? Can ghosts cause nocturnal emissions?
I mean, absolutely. They sneak in there like it's nocturnally Mission Impossible and get to work.
Just drop over top of you like an Ethan Hawke, just grabbing your junk.
Can you go to Dylan first so he doesn't have quite as much time to craft these jokes?
That's usually why I go to him first in these questions anyway. I'm like, I don't need him to think about anything.
Oh my god.
All right, let's see. Dylan, next question is: if you could hunt down one violent criminal and get away with murdering them, would you? That's from Purple Headed Warrior.
Just
by the
would
way.
I or which
Yeah.
would I want to?
No, would you?
Oh, yeah.
Just violently.
I have my choice of what to use?
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Choice of venue?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay. What is it? What's the venue?
Shopping mall.
Inside or
Turn it
outside?
into a shopping
During business hours inside.
Oh, cool. What?
But nobody can leave.
What plaza part? Is it like with the fountain with all the coins that kids are hanging in, or like where the costume man sits and gets kids on their lap?
It's probably the Indianapolis like mall. Because it's two
What?
levels
Oh,
and it's like wide and sprawl. I don't know.
And
Oh,
how
so you-
about what if you would do it at the top of the up escalator so that the body just like sort of
just kind of
keeps
just keeps
rolling in
flopping
the middle?
around.
I mean, I
Oh.
figured I'd give him like a 5-minute head start and then just,
Yeah,
go for it.
I'm into that. Okay, Condo. If you were granted an interview with any celebrity in the world, who would you pick? And that's from Curious Cousins.
Can I cover them in semen before
I
I
guess you'd
start
have-
interviewing?
You probably have to.
Okay, well then
What
it's
are you guys
Jason
gonna
Momoa.
What do you guys- should have saw that one coming. All right, folks. If you have any weird or questions about ghosts or whether or not Dylan can actually ejaculate at nighttime, please send them in. You can send them into notimetobinge@gmail.com, or really just text Dylan. Just text him all of your questions and ask him personally. If you don't want me to do it over air, you can just send your questions to Dylan. I'll put his phone number in the show notes. So please go ahead. Okay, so we're going to be talking about House. Now, House came out in 2004. And for those who don't know, Mr. House, MD, what's his first name? Jonathan?
Gregory.
Gregory.
Oh, yeah, Greg. Gregory House. He's a doctor. This is also an American medical drama television series that was originally ran on the Fox network for 8 whole seasons from November 2004 to May 2012. And the series' main character is Dr. Gregory House, aka Hugh Laurie. He's an unconventional misanthropic medical genius who, despite his dependence on pain medication, he leads a team of diagnostics at the fictional Princeton Plainsboro Teaching Hospital in New Jersey. Now, obviously, we're all big fans of New Jersey and how much any kind of medicine is overused, which comes from New Jersey. So this is really close to all of our hearts. Now, I've asked you guys specifically to watch episode 1, which is known as the pilot, or also Everyone Lies. It has 2 names for some reason. Now, Dylan Terry.
Yes.
Can you please tell me episode 1, season 1, aka the pilot, aka Everyone Lies? What the hell is this show about?
Teacher goes to class and has a seizure. Dr. House is an asshole.
Mhm.
he's very good at his job, except when he's not. Except when he's not, he actually is.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
They do an initial scan of the patient, and they think that something's wrong with them, and they recover briefly, but then they get worse. And everybody's like, House, you were wrong this time. And he goes, I'm never wrong except occasionally when we need to actually be dramatic. It's actually this. Break the law for me. So they do. And they find something that teaches House about the patient's diagnosis. And he does a dramatic and weird recovery plan or medical thing. And surprise, it wasn't the first thing, except sometimes it was. Except this time it wasn't. And the patient gets better.
Hell yeah.
That is not only this episode, but pretty much every episode of House until it loses complete control of where it's going and goes completely off the rails.
Yep. They're like, hey, House, what do you think this is? And he's like, oh, it's obviously this. And they go, you have no goddamn proof, House.
I'm gonna fire you, you piece of shit.
Give me 22 minutes.
Except in this one, it's like a teacher who ate bad pork and she had a shitload of tapeworms. And they're like, no, it's this instead. And it's like, no, it's not. And then it is. So
yeah. Well, at first he diagnoses her with cerebral vasculitis, and they're like, "There's no way it's that, House." And he's like, "I know, it was a tapeworm," which is crazy. So yeah, so we get this show where it's like this doctor, he's off the rails for some reason. He is able to do whatever he wants to do and give anybody whatever medication he seems fit, all while having some kind of cane and a really solid attitude. Nurse B, was there anything in episode 1 that you hung on to that really stuck out to you?
I'm trying to remember what exactly happened in episode 1.
From when you watched it yesterday?
Was it in episode 1 where he switched out the medication with like Mentos?
Yes.
Was that in episode 1?
Yes.
Okay, because that I was just kind of like, that you can't. No, that's not how that works. Trust me, I'm a nurse.
I've tried. I stopped taking all my Valium. Started eating Mentos. Shit's not
good. It doesn't work.
Now Condo, we're moving on. We're learning some stuff about House.
Yeah.
Now, have you watched the show before?
Yes.
Okay, so you kind of knew what you're getting into here.
Yes.
And
I knew that I was getting Hugh Laurie doing the first and only British guy's American accent. It's the only one that British guys use, and nobody else does it as good as him. I did forget that they had a fetish porn director directing the first episode, apparently.
I did forget to mention Bryan Singer directed the pilot.
No. Is that true? No way. Yeah, I didn't see any boys on this show.
Oh yeah, the boy with the inhaler.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, and they like zoomed the camera down into his lungs.
Yep.
Oh no, you're being serious. Bryan Singer did direct this.
Yes, this is not a joke.
Who's
I'm being
bringing
100%
this child porn to
serious.
my world? Michael Colby, you need to freaking do your research. No more Michael Singer, no more Bryan Singer bullshit on here. That and Kevin Spacey stuff not allowed in the show ever again. All right, so we're gonna
wasn't Bryan Singer like adjudicated? Didn't he not do the stuff?
He's literally
do the stuff.
He's never been brought to trial, I don't think.
He literally has disappeared from public eye. He has done the stuff.
Oh,
there's multiple documentaries out there about it. He is a bad man.
All right. Well, I'm sorry that I brought that in. I would have never known that had Dylan not just said it. Just now.
Honestly, I think we all should just take a second and hate Dylan for bringing this to our attention, for really just bringing the show.
It's okay. He only directed the first one.
All right, well, let's hop over to the last one then.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna move over to the last episode of House, which is whatever the antithesis of pilot is. I guess that's the finale. Now, this one is called Everybody Dies. Condo.
Yeah.
The hell is this episode about?
House meets a guy who is addicted to heroin. Gets addicted to heroin himself. Ends up in a haze in a burning building, seeing the ghosts of all the people from throughout the series that died, and then almost dies himself. His friend Wilson and kind of series antagonist Dr. other guy, I cannot remember his name. They do some detective work, figure out where he is. They see him in the window in the front of the building. The building explodes. And then at House's funeral, Wilson gets a text from House, and he says, I escaped out of the back of the building, even though I can barely walk and had literally a fraction of a second to get from the front of the building to the back of the building. So now let's ride motorcycles until you die of cancer. You, a cancer doctor, getting cancer and dying from it is the most ironic thing that we can think of to end the series.
Yeah, I was really hoping House would die. I really think that there's a lot of his characters out there, that type of character, and I was really hoping that he would just die. There's a funeral sequence. I'm like, all right, cool. This is how you're going to do it. House is going to just die. Dylan, was there anything that Michael missed in that last episode that you thought should be talked about?
Nothing important. I mean, it's talked a little bit about this backstage, but it's like Sherlock Holmes ending where you think he dies, but he doesn't because he's Sherlock Holmes, and it becomes more clear as the series goes on. Nope.
No,
I don't know. Like, yeah, it's building explodes. Everybody thinks House dies, but he doesn't.
Yeah. Now, we have 8 seasons of House going absolutely batshit crazy on any kind of diagnosis that he can get his hands on. If someone's sick, House needs to know how to fix it. Because of which, we have a lot of things that House tries to fix current ailments through 8 seasons. Michael, what was the craziest thing that House tried to fix an ailment?
Well, there was a child who was playing marbles, and they put marbles in their nose. And House says that, all the doctors are like, what are we going to do about this? And they're like, we can't do surgery on it. And he's like, what we have to do is we have to give this child a bunch of steroids and get this child just buff out of their mind. And it's months and months of this 3-year-old lifting weights and getting just jacked and ripped. And then he's like, all right, stop the steroids. And the child shrinks back down, and that loosens up the sinuses enough for the marbles to just fall out. It seemed like a huge waste, but apparently if they would have done surgery to take the marbles out, it would have killed the child. That was in like season 7. So I think that was before they went, all right, we're just going to go crazy with this. But after they had already exhausted all of their other options.
Yeah, and that kid was very clear. Like, I don't want cuts in my nose. I'll probably die if you cut my nose and get these marbles out. So that was almost traumatic. You're right. Nurse B, same question. What was the craziest medical treatment that House tried?
Oh gosh. Besides all of them, no. It was I lost my hat.
Oh,
better go to the hat closet and get another one.
Hat. Excuse me. There we go.
Thank you.
All right, Nurse B back on the floor. No, it was probably when that construction worker got like swallowed concrete, and instead of like, I don't know, doing surgery to like remove it, he was just kind of like, let's wait it out for a few months. Let's see what happens here. Then the construction worker actually died. But House decided to try necromancy. He dabbled in necromancy. There was like this entire arc to bring back this one construction worker because House wanted to play God. It was fucked up.
It was the only place he had to go.
Yeah, that was the only thing that he did a Frankenstein.
Yeah,
he did
a Frankenstein,
and he did say at one point that he was going to let the concrete in the guy's thing to see if he would literally shit a brick.
Yeah.
But it just killed the guy.
I was leading up to that joke. Thank you.
Oh yeah. I was wondering who's going to say it.
Well, that was,
Like-
I mean, that wasn't a joke. That was what he said in the show. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, you skipped past it. So I was just going to say it because I thought
Yeah.
it was a good
episode.
line.
I mean, it was a joke in the show, but like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Because
that
I
was the
did like when
best.
House. I did like when House looked at the Omar Epps and was like, "I'm going to do a Frankenstein," and Omar Epps was like, "You did a Frankenstein." This is a pretty good
I
show.
did love the moral implications, like which one's the monster, which one's the man.
Mhm.
Is it right to play God? Like,
Is it
you
right for
know-
us to judge?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let monsters be monsters. We're not
Yeah.
House. We all can't
Exactly.
judge. Teardrops. Same question. What is the craziest medical treatment House tried for anything?
It's when House has to do surgery on himself, guided by the ghost of his dead teammate,
Mm-hmm.
and you're left to wonder, like, how much of this is actually him, and how much of this is the ghost.
Yeah.
And they don't confirm it for a very long time, and then eventually, I think it's the Australian Chase.
Mhm.
It's like, "Hi, remember that time that ghost told you how to do surgery?" And he's like, "Oh, I guess that was real, huh?" Yeah, no, it was it was the guy who went on to be the guy who worked for Obama, from Harold and Kumar.
Yeah, Cal Penn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think this was the precipice for the question about nocturnal missions, because that Australian guy said, "Oi, ghost nocturnal missions, eh?" It's like, oh, I thought that was a surgery. It wasn't. It's just hardcore sheet friction.
And-
Now,
well,
Condo.
he did that thing. He did the surgery on himself to fix his leg, and he did.
Mhm.
And then he said, well, like he said in the show, well, this isn't good for the show. So he messed his leg back up then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, wait, where's my limp?
Yeah.
Like, oh wait, I gotta get this. Condo. So obviously, like, House was one of the first major medical dramas. Obviously, there was ER, then there was Grey's Anatomy, which really pushed storytelling to its absolute pinnacle here. Now, one thing that Grey's Anatomy did before House was the musical episode. It became a very popular thing. So House did it at least once a season for 8 seasons. Knowing that you are such a musical person, what was your favorite musical episode of House? And I'm gonna pretty please ask you for like what the description of the episode is.
Well, the episode was because what's his real name? God damn it.
House. Greg.
Because House was in a punk band with
Hugh Laurie.
Yeah, Hugh Laurie was in a punk band with another comedian that I also can't remember the name of. But they were both in the episode, and they were getting the band back together. And the lady who is the lady who like runs the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I maybe I'm having a stroke because I can't remember anything right now. But she kept telling him, you can't practice in these rooms. There are patients in these rooms. And they're like, no, we are punk rockers. We're going to do what we want whenever we want. And that was the whole theme of the episode was this punk band just like doing whatever they want. And then like he would be playing his guitar, and he did all of his like medical stuff in the form of pretty much rhyming lyrics, and like all of his diagnoses were in the form of punk songs.
Yeah,
and that was my favorite episode.
It definitely was interesting seeing 2 British comedians pretend to be failed Americans doing some trashy punk music.
Mhm.
And that's why I thought I'd ask you first. Dylan. Same question. You cannot use the episode Sid and Fancy. You got to pick your own episode.
No, that's fine. It's the episode where House starts working at the music venue.
Mhm.
He's like, I need to work out this new leg. Just got it fixed out. So he's ushering people. And it's the episode where they do like Edgar Allan Poe based songs. It's the fall of the House Usher.
I gave you too many minutes. I gave you 2 F-word long.
And it does all the like gothic rock, like kind of Fallout Boy stuff.
Mhm.
And it's
Tight choreography though.
Yes, and he's using the cane like a kind of shit. Who's the guy from Dancing in the Rain? The asshole. The main guy from Dancing
Fred
in the Rain.
Astaire?
Gene Kelly. Fred Astaire. One of the two.
Ginger Rogers, Dance
No.
on Air.
I don't think so.
They had style. They had grace.
Hey, Grace.
Anyway, I made my joke.
Rita Hayworth. That's it. Anyway, I've said my business.
I've done my part. Bye.
All right. Nurse B, same question. I need a musical episode, not the two trash ones that we've already heard about.
So my favorite was actually the one that was like based off of an actual musical. It was called Phantom of the Operating Room. It was the one where like there was like a phantom doctor coming in and like fixing patients before House could, and there was like a weird romance. That's all fuzzy because I didn't care. But my favorite part was when they actually fixed the Phantom's face with plastic surgery, and he was just kind of like, "Oh man, I guess I don't have to be evil now. Like, I can just be chill."
Yeah.
Cool. And that was the end of it.
Yeah, watching
like nobody learned any life lessons here. It wasn't like about inner beauty or anything like that. No, he just got plastic surgery and it was done.
Yeah. It was interesting seeing the guy walk around the whole hospital with like that face mask with the eye cut out. It's like, oh, I see the reference there.
It was like gauze.
Beautiful rendition of Music of the Night Shift, though.
Yeah.
Good job. You're going for a high score this time, Dylan.
Yeah, why
not? Now, I guess I can't give you guys too much time with these questions, so no more questions for everybody. Okay, so now Mike Colby already talked on one thing, which was trying to get those marbles out of the nose without killing the kid. And it seemed like that was kind of taken over a lot of the time. There's always kids getting some stuff stuck in their nose. And it seemed like it was like a little bit of a filler. Now, Dylan, what was one of your most traumatic things that House found inside of an orifice of a human?
It's the human femur.
The femur inside of the butt?
Oh, inside the nose.
Oh, it was the nose femur.
And yeah, he comes in with a sinus problem where he's like, I can't breathe out of one nostril. I'm like, all right. So we're going to look up there. And it's one of the rare times that they subvert their own formula and just, it's straight up 44 minutes of House using like pliers to try and pull a full-size human femur out of this kid's nose. And it's distending and stretching, and he has to stop every once in a while. And there's the B plot about his like third unintended pregnancy or something like that. Not a huge deal. But yeah, it's him when he's like bracing both his feet on the wall on either side of the kid's nose and is just like pulling as hard as he can.
Now, I didn't finish that episode. How did the kid get his thigh in his nose?
1 inch at a time.
It wasn't his thigh. It was the thigh of the skeleton that he found in.
It was the medical skeleton in the waiting room.
It was a fake thigh.
Yeah. You're talking. Okay, you're talking about the waiting room skeleton episode.
Yes.
I thought you were talking about the one where the kid found a skeleton in the woods and then shoved the femur up his nose.
No, the one where you think it's going to be about the kid who has a gunshot wound, but while he's in the waiting room, he puts the femur up his nose, and that turns out to be the focus of the episode. Okay. Then he bleeds out at the end.
Yes. Yeah, because they were not treating the gunshot wound. They were only treating the femur.
Yeah, that's true. Nurse B, I'm going to ask the same question. What was the weirdest thing that House found inside someone that went to radical measures to get it out?
Inside or inside their nose specifically?
I'm going to go with an orifice because it was 8 seasons, so they did some crazy stuff.
I see. I think my favorite one was when House found that tiny mirror inside that person's ear, and it made him do like a very long self-reflective episode. And it was a very much like, is this who I am? A guy who is very sarcastic while looking in a child's ear. A guy who makes people feel stupid for not knowing basic like medical shit that is really complex. Am I going to make my patients feel awful about themselves? The answer was yes. The answer ended up being yes, but it was it was a very deep episode, all because of this mirror inside a child's ear.
Yeah,
we never found out why it was in his ear or what happened to the mirror. I don't think I don't think it showed House taking it out. Maybe he did.
I don't think so. The weird thing about that mirror was it wasn't like the kid broke a mirror with their head, or anything, and a shard of it got in. It was a little tiny mirror with like a little gold frame and everything. It was,
it's like it was
very
placed there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
well,
intentionally.
yeah.
Michael, you told us that if you watch this on Amazon Prime, you get the little bonus stingers after every episode. If you actually watch this episode, that was the tiny mirror that House would do cocaine off of. So it was odd, like whatever that kid was doing to get that into his own ear.
Maybe it was all symbolic.
Oh shit!
Like he was looking into himself and his own cocaine habits and trying to come to terms with who he is as a person. Is this really who I am? Yes.
And he did do cocaine off of that mirror the first time when it was still in the kid's ear.
Yeah.
I was gonna say he also did cocaine off of the child's face.
And that's how you know Moses was directed by Bryan Singer. All right, so obviously throughout this entire season, there's a lot of will they, won't they, between House and whoever the lady is that is in charge of at least a wing of the hospital. But House really dabbled with a lot of people's feelings and a lot of emotions. Dylan, of all House's will they, won't they's, which was the one that was most unexpected for you?
I mean, we already covered the mirror one, so that's off the table.
He did love that mirror.
He did. Well, he loved the reflection of himself in the mirror. It's him with the giant talking bottle of Vicodin that he hallucinates. And you're like, yeah, I get it. It's not supposed to be a literal apparition of a bottle of Vicodin. I don't think it's supposed to be, not like the ghost. But, there's that point where Chase is like, oi, you remember that time you talked to that giant bottle of Vicodin? And House was like, yeah, I do, at the county fair. But this is the ghost that shows up after his friend dies. And then again after his other friend dies. And then that one time after the patient dies.
Now, is this the ghost of the Vicodin bottle that has erectile dysfunction, or is this the first Vicodin bottle ghost?
I think it's the erectile dysfunction one. Because he's like, House, help me out. And House is like, I don't think so. I'm not going to do that.
Good House impression.
Thank you. I'm also... Funny story is you can do an impression of both Dr. House and Dr. Strange by doing the exact same thing.
Which is what? Being a dragon?
Being a dragon? Yeah. Has Hugh Laurie ever played a dragon?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, an ant, but that's close.
Yeah.
You just have to gruff up your voice a little bit and speak in a very monotone voice.
Kind of stilted. Yeah. Anyway, it's the bottle of Vicodin. The one with erectile dysfunction that shows up every once in a while when someone dies. That one.
What a lengthy plot thread that was.
I know.
Beast, same question. Most unexpected will they, won't they, that House had to endure? Oh, no.
Me?
Yeah. I need 20 cc's of an answer stat.
Okay, hang on. I'm writing a prescription for Jack Black.
What prescription?
No,
what a surprise!
It was the episode where that sexy new male nurse comes in, and he's all like, "Oh, this patient needs 22 cc's of vitamin D, initial D," and he looks right directly in the camera. And we find out that Dr. House is actually bisexual, and he has a crush on Jack Black's character. That was my absolute favorite. It didn't last. He was only there for like an episode. I'll never forget it because it was my absolute favorite.
Yeah. And it was interesting how they blurred like House and Shallow Hal for that one episode where they're like, wow, Jack Black is really big. And House is like, he's not that big. And they hold up like Jack Black's underwear and they're like, this is really big. And House is like, not as big as my Vicodin bottle. Condo,
Yes.
Same question.
Well, it was the apparition of the anthropomorphic Vicodin bottle, but the one without erectile dysfunction, the one who could actually fuck.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. That guy, that thing had, you know what? It said Vicodin on the outside, but it had way too much semen for that to be Vicodin. I think that was a bottle of those
gas station
pills.
sperm pills.
Yeah. the sperm pills.
What is a correct amount of semen for a Vicodin bottle?
The correct amount is like 4 to 6 tablespoons.
The correct amount is none.
It was
The
gallons.
correct amount is none.
But
It
this
was
one was like
gallons.
this one was X times 1,000.
It
It's like
just-
whatever normal is, like you're getting gushed.
There was a scene where Dr. House was on Wilson's couch in his office, and the couch and house and the wall behind them, it was like that scene in Ghostbusters 2 when they were going through the pink slime in the office, and like Wilson's like wading through it. Oh, it was so
A lot of goo.
sloshy and sloppy.
Honestly, and whenever House took those pills, it was like Wilson was on a log flume. It was just stuff everywhere.
It was like, do you remember that scene in the first Scary Movie where they have sex for the first time
Oh,
and
yeah.
he blasts her up to the ceiling?
Yeah.
It was like that, but times like 6.
It's almost like those black and white 60s videos of people spraying kids to get out of school.
What?
You know what I'm talking about.
The ones that Bryan Singer directed.
Yeah. Hey, get out,
Okay.
get out of my house. My wife's coming home.
I'm gonna get canceled
so
for being
we're
on
all
the show
getting
with you guys.
Yeah, we're
So here's the one thing that I really wanted to find out. House is obviously, he's a very arrogant fellow, and he goes through all of his years and years of college and making fun of people for not knowing just basic healthcare stuff. Throughout the season, it turns out that House has he has invented like new infections. Like he's found things that there are no cures for. So he had the chance to be the first one to find it, and then obviously create the cure for it. But of all the things that House has invented, I guess, or named because he found them first, what was the weirdest infection or problem with the human body that it really just took you by surprise? Condo.
probably that ringworm type fungal infection that every time you tried to treat it, it would move. It was always in the genital ass area, but it would move down the legs. And, you know, they found out that the only way to cure this thing, this weird rash was to rub semen onto it, but it would move as you were like trying to cure it. So he ended up just taking so many of those pills and just like laying that guy down on the couch and just hosing him down. It worked. I mean, it always works.
Gonna have to put like a parental advisory notice before this episode. Holy shit!
Because you know, if you don't cover the thing with a lot of semen,
it has
infection's going to spread.
Yeah. He had a snorkel and
just searching for cures under there.
Just so that we're clear, this episode was not about a child. That guy was 63 years old.
Some dusty semen.
Yeah.
No,
it was House's semen on a 63-year-old man.
Oh.
Were you not watching this show?
No. Not whenever I saw the beginning where it has that cool music, I think it's called Teardrops by Massive Attack, and he's in that Shell station buying those semen pills. I'm like, this is a filler episode. I'm going to skip it. I don't need the Shell station semen pills in all of my house. Thank you. Nurse B, how about you? What was the weirdest thing that House found out for the first time and probably had to cure?
Well, I mean, interesting that you should mention semen, actually. It was the STD caused by the Vicodin bottles semen. That really awful one. And then they discovered that if it's not treated with normal antibiotics, it can actually cause cancer. And we find out that that's actually what gave his friend cancer. And that cancer is unfortunately incurable. And we don't see him die, but we know he dies.
Yeah, and the weird thing about that is they even said, you know, all you have to do is take this antibiotic. It's just like, and it wasn't even a long course. It was like a 3-day course of antibiotics. Yeah. And he's like, no, I'm House. I don't do boring stuff like antibiotics. We have to figure out some crazy way of curing this thing. Yeah. And then by the time he figured out that the only way to cure it was just taking the antibiotics. It was too
It
late.
was too late.
Yeah.
And it
they're
already
like,
progressed
House,
to cancer.
Yep.
if you just take the Z-Pack, super easy.
Yep.
Yep.
And he's like, no, not with this
In
anti-semen
conclusion-
inside of me.
Yeah. In conclusion, House sucks.
In conclusion, House is stupid.
Yeah.
Teardrop, same question. Craziest thing House invented, and then how did he cure it?
We're doing inventions.
Well, he found it was the first time this infection has ever been seen by humans.
Oh, I was
or
going to say
whatever.
inventions when it's revealed that he has a sword cane. But as
He
far
didn't
as
invent the sword cane, that's been around for quite a while.
yeah, he invented it back when it was invented.
House did?
Yeah.
Time traveling House?
No, he's immortal. That's how he survives the fire.
He's a Highlander House.
Yeah.
I have the replica of that sword cane.
The House sword?
Yeah, the House sword cane.
Yeah, nobody ever questions on the show why he has like a dragon head on his cane. They're all like, yeah, House is quirky. He's kind of an asshole. Dragons are kind of assholes. It makes sense. And then when the hospital gets held up by the gunman and House is like, oh, I guess I'm just defenseless, huh? And then he pulls out and stabs him 45 times.
Welcome to the House of Pain. It's not a good one. It's not a good.
The only way to cure you is to stab you 45 times.
Once per minute for the duration of the episode.
Actually, I mean, okay, wasn't it like an acupuncture thing though? Like he ended up curing his weak knee.
I mean, yeah, because he wasn't able to walk
he
anymore.
was dead afterwards, but he didn't have any pain, so I would consider that a successful treatment.
But
And
I went
honestly,
to medical school.
Go ahead, Dylan.
Oh no, I was going to answer the question. It's when he thinks that the old folks' home has a case of the zombie virus because everybody's kind of gray and ashy, and so he's like, the only way we can beat these is to destroy the brain. And so he and his team walk through the rooms of the old folks' home and just, and then the Halloween horror comes in when you realize that they weren't zombies; they were just old folks.
They just
and then
smell
it's
like
never
nicotine.
acknowledged. It's never acknowledged afterwards, but it is treated as canon because you hear about it on the news a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
They just never get prosecuted for it.
Yeah, they never figured out, I don't quite understand because this seems like a contemporary show, but they didn't use DNA or anything like that to solve the murders. It was like a 1920s, we don't have any evidence, so we just can't solve this murder. They didn't dust for fingerprints or anything.
No.
There was,
and honestly,
that was the crossover with CSI. And the CSI guys were just like, we have no idea. We can't figure this out.
Yeah, CSI guys were like, there's literally too much DNA here. There's too much semen everywhere for us to test any of this stuff. Too much. B, I'm glad you brought up the acupuncture earlier because that reminded me, there was that whole season where House really, he really dove into Eastern medicine. And he's like, you know what? Vicodin's not really working it for everybody. I'm going to take all of it myself. And he really tried to hone in on either his occult medicine or Eastern medicine. What was some of the quirkiest or weirdest attempts at pseudoscience, I'm going to say? And B, I'm going to start with you since your glass is empty.
Didn't have enough wine for all this semen talk.
There never is, honestly. There never is.
But I mean, I did already mention how he got into necromancy, raising the dead, and all that stuff. But I think my favorite, it was when he got into really into aromatherapy, and he joined that Crunchy Moms Facebook group. And the whole episode was just posts on that Facebook group. The whole episode. And it was some Facebook drama between Kathy and Karen, and we got really into the weeds there because Kathy vaccinated her kids, but Karen thought that vaccinations were poison and that they were injecting microchips in. And then House had this huge long thing that you had about 5 seconds to read before it just moved on because TLDR. I think that was my favorite when he got into aromatherapy. joined that
Yeah.
mom's Facebook group, and then never touched on it again.
Yeah, that was a good string of episodes. I mean, he
Yeah.
was so into eucalyptus, he thought that would just fix
He
everything.
was. And lavender.
I do like that it's the first time where people watching it might realize that if you write a short story or a script or something that consists entirely of internet message board posts, no matter how much detail you put in or jokes or humor, whenever you read something like that aloud, it comes across as very, very tedious, and you should probably just leave it for text only instead of taking it onto a podcast where you're supposed to read for an audience.
Yeah, no matter if you win that contest or not, Dylan, don't be a prick about this. You won that.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. The dice said number 3. He won.
Oh, right. Yeah, we all voted for you, though. Condo, same question. Pseudoscience.
My favorite pseudoscience was when there was a new strain of just like sort of the common cold, but there was like a hardcore strain of it that was it was making people like very sick, and a lot of people were dying. And House was like, no, this isn't a big deal. We're just going to ignore this. It'll go away. He said once it starts to get warm outside, people just going outside, being in the sun is going to cure this thing. But it just kept getting worse and worse. And then House was like, you know what? Fine. This is a thing. So what I'm going to do is when I get a patient with this like horrible strain of the common cold, which is killing a whole bunch of people, I'm just going to splay them open, and I'm going to pour bleach on them, and then I'm going to use UV lights, and that's going to cure their blood, and then I'm just going to sew them back up, and it'll be fine. And he did that to about 47 people, and they all died. And he was like,
46.
He said maybe bleach and UV lights aren't going to cure a horrible disease that, like, kills 6 million people.
Yeah, and obviously you could tell that they have taken old fiction and turned it into real science, because not that long ago, the president of our country said that would work. So,
Oh my God.
No, wait,
obviously
what?
they're no.
Which president?
I'm talking.
Was it
about
Obama?
Carter.
Oh yeah,
House.
Well, Carter's very old. Carter's very old and senile. He doesn't really know what's
Aw.
going on.
It's the best we
No,
had.
it's not his fault. I'm not making fun of the man. He's
Sounds
old.
like you're making
and he
fun of
doesn't
him.
really know what's going on.
But if you were making fun of him, what would you say?
If I was making fun of Jimmy Carter, I would never. I would never make fun of Jimmy Carter. Fortunately, we have never had an embarrassing president that would do something so stupid. Because when President George Clinton heard about the strain of the common cold that was killing people, he said, no, let's keep these people quarantined for 2 weeks. We'll let it run its course, and then we'll just be done with it. Then we don't have to do anything. He didn't ignore it. So yeah, I mean,
there was a lot of funk. There was a lot of funked up stuff that Parliament was
so
talking about.
much.
Disco fever really struck the country.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Vice President Bootsy Collins.
I'm not sure B has enough alcohol just to listen to us talk.
I really don't. I really don't.
Right, I got
Is there any left?
I got one last
Sorry about
question
all the-
before I find out.
Sorry about
Go ahead.
all the P-Funk and semen talk today. Actually, you know what? Forget it. I'm not sorry.
Just
I'm
like high
very
school.
proud of all
Just
the
like high school.
P-Funk and semen.
Okay.
The semen and P-Funk. Okay, last question before we get rolling on. House, he's taken some pretty drastic measures over the seasons. And I'm not sure if a lot of you guys figured out this yet, but some of them didn't work out very well for these people. House has left a long trail of dead bodies and sad families due to, fake things. Of all the people that House just let die through negligence, what would you say was the most upsetting, Dylan?
I mean, President George Clinton.
Just
When
let
it's
the
like,
guy go.
listen, we got to stop this music. The entire country's gripped. Nothing we can do
Like,
for
please
it.
don't stop the music. Please don't
Rest in
stop the
peace,
music.
President Clinton.
Yeah. I don't know that I can really make jokes about it. It was their real big like Oscar bait episode. It lost to The Office, unfortunately.
They lost the Oscar of television to The Office.
Yep.
The Oscar for best television went to The Office that year.
Best
instead of-
television episode.
instead of House. Yeah. The episode of The Office where Kevin unhinges his jaw and swallows Toby whole.
I tell you, that was all improv from what I understood.
Yeah, he can do that in real life.
He couldn't up until that.
A lot of people
stunt,
on The Office
but now he
were
can.
they brought a lot of the real life stuff into the show. And the death of President Clinton, George Clinton, I should say, was really probably the one that had the biggest effect on me.
Yeah, that's fair. Nurse B, of all the people House let down mortally, who was your least favorite?
Write another prescription.
Oh no.
For Jack Black again.
That's
got
the
a
same
bad-
prescription. This
bad
is a
case of
fraud.
Kyle
This is a fraud
Gass.
prescription.
Hey, listen, if House can do it, so can I.
That's fair. That's fair. I love it. All right, Condo, give me your answer. Let's roll out of here.
It was the blonde doctor lady that you saw in the last episode that tried to convince him to just kill himself, to just let himself die. She got a terrible disease. It was a strain of the common cold, and House was like, that was the reason that House started, taking it seriously. He said, I'm going to cure you. And he splayed her open and poured bleach all over her and used the UV lights, and she died. And it was a very sad episode. It was like she got the disease. She came to House. He killed her by cutting her open and putting UV lights on her blood. Commercial break. The rest of the episode was just him sitting in the corner, just bawling. And earlier in that episode, he had taken a bunch of pills. So as he's bawling, it excited him. So by the end of the thing, he's down in the corner of the stairwell, just like chest deep in tears and semen. Just it all came up, and I mean, it slowly rose. It was a very powerful episode. Unfortunately, that episode lost the Oscar to Parks and Recreation that year.
Well deserved, actually. Yeah.
I mean, that episode of Parks and Rec, that was from beginning to end just a tearjerker. Tour de Force by Leslie Knope.
Yeah, when they remade Children of Men in Parks and Rec.
Yes.
Well, it seems like you guys had a blast with House MD, which I'm
just
super
like House
excited
was
about.
blasting semen, boom.
Oh, we're gonna cut that out. Anyway,
we specifically didn't talk about the submarine episode.
I know. Like, why is he doing this? We're like, no sub talk. Okay, so 8 seasons, guys. Will you make time? Should anyone make time to binge this show? Teardrop.
I watched the first 4 seasons. I remember having a pretty good time. Rewatching the pilot really threw me back to high school when I was watching this a lot. It was on USA all the time. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I would ever feel the need to finish it, knowing how far off the rails it goes.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
When something goes that far, it's gonna just get stupid just to keep watching. So, that's
but
fair.
I appreciated
Nurse
what
B.
I did. First 4 seasons are good, at least up through the
Nurse B.
vocalist stuff.
No. Short
Don't
answer,
do it.
no. Longer answer, why would I binge it when I currently am living that life? My shift is almost over though, so gonna have to write you all a prescription for horny.
We all get a prescription for
I think
one
we're
horny?
already on it.
Is this a prescription to make us horny or because
No,
we're
to
too
cure
horny?
it because you're all horny.
Oh,
We get to
No,
buy
thanks.
one horny with this prescription. All right. Cool.
Some anti-horny
Uh,
pills.
Okay.
There's too much
one
semen.
anti-horny. A lot of semen talk. Doesn't make me horny. It's
I'm
just a
gonna
fact.
write a prescription
Condo.
for some more Merlot for myself.
Condo, you gonna binge this? Should people binge this?
I already binged it. A couple of years ago, we watched this whole thing. We do a thing at my house where we have a show on the whole time, and no matter what we're doing, that show is just on. House is a lot of the same thing. If you watch that first episode, you sort of know what happens until halfway through the last season. So you've kind of seen it, and then that last half of that last season goes a little bit crazy, but I thought that it ended in a very satisfying way, which is unlike a lot of TV shows. Like when you have a show that goes on that long, when it ends, it's usually unsatisfying, but I thought that was as good as they could do. I'm not going to binge it again personally, but I do think it's a great show to have on in the background. You can hate House and also kind of like House because it's Hugh Laurie and he's like whatever, Chase is gorgeous and you know there's always good looking people on the show, so it's nice to look at and it's fine to watch. Unfortunately, Chase doesn't have nearly as good of an Australian accent as Dylan does, but we can forgive it because because he's so gorgeous.
That is true.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so have House on if you want. Don't binge watch it. Don't really take your time
you
to
don't
pay attention to it.
It's definitely not a show where you would want to sit down and watch it.
No, it's too long. It's too long.
So
all in all, have on House if you're doing laundry. Don't pay attention to it unless you really want to see some ghosts getting drained of their fluids, especially in the last season. Okay, so what we're going to do next time, I asked Dylan to pick a show for us to do this for. And Dylan, being the fantasy super freak that he is, he chose Fate the Winx Saga. Now, you can find Fate the Winx Saga on Netflix. Season 2 just came out. And if you don't know what this is, Fate the Winx Saga is a teen drama series based on the Nickelodeon animated series Winx Club. And it was created by Eugenio Straffi. It's a really weird cartoon. Never seen the series. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take a couple weeks, watch episode 1 called To the Waters in the Wild. What?
From what I understand, it's like Harry Potter, but for fairy kids. Like elemental fairy kids.
Is it are you sure it's not From the Windows to the Walls is the first episode title?
No, that's mostly House, because that is some sweaty things going on there. So season 1, episode 1, To the Waters in the Wild, all the way over to season 2, episode 7, All the Wild Witches. This is going to be exciting. No, that's not even a good song. Stop saying that. You're making B nervous or something. All right, let's get out of here. B, where can people find you if they need more of you?
You can find me at the hospital or at the liquor store, one or the other.
Probably at the liquor store,
depending on before or after the show.
Yeah.
Or you can listen to my podcasts. Is this podcast a JoJo reference and deep lore? You can also follow my Instagram at b.bethy or my Twitter at Queen Bethy B if you're feeling nasty. All right, that's the end of my shift. I'm out. Don't ask me for anything else.
If you're nasty. All right, Condo, where can people find your voice if they need some more ear biscuits?
If you want to listen to my voice, but in sort of an echoey ghost form, you can listen to Jack Billings Presents Haunted Apartment Complex, which is on the Podmoth Network. It is a scripted comedy, absurdist thing about ghosts and vampires and werewolves and ghosts and ghosts and ghosts. You can also listen to a lot of the stuff that I do with Some Nobodies, and we have another thing coming out about the thing that we did where we all met each other.
Yeah.
That'll be out very soon. And you might be surprised at just how long we've known each other.
Yeah.
I know
That's
I
true.
was surprised when when we started this thing and I was like, no, wait a second, 2002?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I don't think I've ever liked anyone for this long, including my family. So
Yeah.
congratulations,
that's
guys.
And my best friend of all time, Teardrop. Where can people find your beautiful voice?
I mean, you got to keep looking, but you can hear my normal voice on everything Some Nobodies does. Look up Some Nobodies. You'll find Silicon Angels, a podcast show, a few companion podcasts, a television series or something along those lines. CYLP, Create Your Own Podventure, Appeal, with its branching storyline and multiple endings. Got a second season in the works with even more endings and more episodes. Here, there, somewhere else, the stuff that Michael talked about is coming out. We guest star on the occasional show every once in a while.
Do stuff.
Yeah. And that's, and I'm on Twitter at Vorpal_words. I'll be
Oh, yeah, you
posting
are.
my National Novel Writing Month progress there daily in November. So follow now so you can get in ahead of the game.
Hell yeah. And like we always say, if you ain't got time to, what's the slogan for
What
this
do
again?
we always say?
Yeah, what do
You know what we always say,
Zach?
guys?
If you ain't
always
got time
say-
to binge, then you are nothing but cringe.
She's a stalker.
Right.
And now for something completely different.
Couldn't be that she finds me interesting, attractive. It has to be that she's interesting.
What I do is I look a woman up and down and I say,
I'm coming to join you, bitch.
Shit.
Oh, that too far?
Oh, you want to get into things?
Well, I mean...
No. Let's get into things. Let's get real. Everybody, BoJack wants to get real. Cancel the bubble round, because we're getting real.